Welcome to Jessie James Beads. This is February 2026 Magical Mystery Bead Box, Wuthering Heights. Let's take a look at some of the gorgeousness within. Heathcliff's Return features beautiful dramatic shapes and colours with this glorious filigree work. Catherine's Wedding, a sumptuous array of beautiful tones with a magnificent boho bead set in the centre. Fabulous chain pack, whatever souls are made of, his and mine are the same. A light silvery chain and a beautiful golden chain, very intricate. 1847 gives us some bookmark blanks, to which you can add any of the beads in the box. Emily Bronte, a beautiful collection of the most glorious carved rose beads. They are utterly stunning. Wuthering Heights, featuring a gloriously feminine array. There's faux pearls, there's glass, there's metals. What's this? Oh, that's fabulous. Quite typical of Georgian jewellery. Cameos were also very popular in this time period, and these are a beautiful representation of something a little bit similar. Also very beautiful is this box clasp. A lovely, lovely, highly detailed piece. Drive Me Mad features oodles of heart beads. They're absolutely gorgeous. Looks like it might be hematite or something very similar to that, with a lovely metallic sheen. Last but not least is this beautiful Thrushcross Grange. Sumptuous velvets, gilt-edged beads and beautiful glowing almost moonstone feel beads, as well as gold metallics. Absolutely gorgeous collection for February 2026. This is Wuthering Heights from Jessie James Beads. I feel most drawn to the chain collection, the beautiful box clasp, the Emily Bronte roses, and Thrushcross Grange bead mix. So let's see what we can create with these glorious Magical Mystery Bead Box items. I've added that beautiful box clasp to the end of the gorgeous chain. Now, if you wanted to shorten the chain, it's relatively easy to open up the small connectors between the fancy sections. What you may find is that you want this to sit really close on the collar. Now, that may mean that you end up with a single piece of the chain as the centerpiece, or it may mean that you end up with two side by side as the centerpiece. And when I fitted this to myself, I ended up with two, so that the centerpiece is actually the connector, which means that I want to set my pendant utilizing two little hooks. But also, I want to share with you how you can set one of the roses from that beautiful Emily Bronte mix by itself with a single hook attachment. So I'm going to share both of those with you. And by the end of today's tutorial, we will have a very fancy Wuthering Heights necklace indeed. For the more simplistic central design, we're going to use one of the beautiful Emily Bronte flowers and a 5-inch length of 18 gauge round wire. I'm going to begin by creating a spiral at one of those ends. So I'll start by creating almost a complete round form with my round pliers, and then I will push the wire around that form to generate a spiral. If your spiral isn't completely perfect, don't worry, because this is going to sit behind the design as a way to hold the rose in position. Once we have travelled 3 times from the start point, so once, twice, 3 times around, what we're going to do is to draw that wire away at a right angle, like so. I'm then going to allow my chosen rose, and I've gone for this beautiful blue moon colour, just to slide down so it becomes close to that triple spiral. I'm going to begin by creating a right angle at the point where the spiral and the wire that is straight part ways, and just pull that away, so that's at a right angle. I'm then going to look at the rear of the beautiful rose and just allow a small distance, approximately the same as the depth between the hole at the back of the rose and the back of the rose. I'm then going to create another right angle, thus allowing that spiral to sit on the rear of that rose, and it now will not spin around overly much. You can choose whichever beads you want, obviously, but I am using beads from this gorgeous mix to generate a little bit of a neck to the design. And then I'm going to create a simple loop up at the top, and that is a really easy, simplistic design onto which you can add all of your roses if you wish at points around this necklace. I'm just going to create a simple loop so that this can be added in later. When you're using a simple loop like this to add into a design, all you will need to do is open that loop as if it was a jump ring. So we'll just trim that away at the point at which the wire crosses over the angle change. Make sure that that loop completes itself all the way around, give it a squish to make it nice and sturdy, and then to open that up, just grip across half of that rounded form and pull that away so that you have a gap, and that gap can be used to link in at any point on your design. The exact centre point of the chain for myself is in between two of the fancy loops, and therefore I'm going to make a rose connector or pendant that's got two loop attachments so that I can centralise that single rose in the very middle of the design. For this part of the tutorial, we're going to use two 4-inch lengths of 18 gauge round wire. And I've gone for a gold to match in with the colours in both the bead mix and the beautiful fancy chain. I'm going to use my ring mandrel or ring stick to generate a smooth horseshoe shape in the centre of one of these pieces of wire. I'm just going to start by making that horseshoe shape come together and just making sure that it fits around the rear side of that rose. If that's a little bit large or a little bit small, you can pop it back on your ring stick or mandrel and just make that a little bit tighter. I think that probably does need to go just a little smaller. So we can just pop that back on, pinch it ever so slightly, and that will shrink it down. Wire does have a tendency to spring out slightly. That's a little bit more snug, so that will be wonderful. The next thing we're going to do is to take the other piece of wire, give it a bit of a smooth and a warm through, especially in that central section, and these were about 4 or 5 inches in length. And I'm just going to push that through the drill aperture in the bead and just sit that down for a second. If I was making this to sell or to wear for myself, I would probably also use gold coloured wire as well, but so that you can see exactly what's going on, I'm going to demonstrate with this silver colour 26 gauge wire. I have a cut length here of around about 6 or 7 inches, probably a little more than I need, but that's absolutely fine. So we'll just pop that down for one moment, and that again is 26 gauge wire, around about 6 or 7 inches or so. So what we're going to do now is to centralise the rose on one of those lengths of wire. Let's flip it over to the rear side. What we're looking to do is to create right angle bends either side of the drill apertures. So if I grip where that's going to come away and pull the rose out of the way, I can get a really sharp bend on one side. When it comes to creating that bend on the other side, we're going to just hold the wire into position, grip the wire on the other side of the bead and just pull that around. We're going to do that cautiously rather than just bending the wires, because we don't want to damage the bead itself. Now the reason that we need that second piece of wire is because that gorgeous rose will spin. So we're going to take the finer wire now and just post that through the same hole. Now it's a really generous drill aperture in this bead. We're going to centralise the wire, and again it was around about 7 inches of 26 gauge. Once I've centralised it, I'm going to pinch on the far side and wrap 3 times around the heavier wire. In fact, I think I might go for 5 just so that it sits really neatly. Give that a teeny tiny pinch up to make sure that that's nice and neat. I'm now going to do the same thing on the other side, looking to see where the wire is going to come away. So on this side of the bead, that finer gauge wire is underneath and coming away. So I want to make sure when I start wrapping around on the other side of the bead that it is symmetrically opposite. So we're just going to wrap that around once, twice, thrice, 4 and 5 times. Let's tighten up that small wrap. Make sure it's both tidy and neat on both sides. Let's give that a little bit of a pinch. Make sure that you're happy with how that looks. What we're going to do, just to keep everything together, is make sure that these 2 wire lengths are equal and opposite to one another. So they should be around about 1 3/4 in length, bearing in mind we started with about 4 or 5 inch length. So I'm just going to trim them away so that they are indeed exactly the same length. Now I'm putting my finger over the end because I have a camera to think about. Please be mindful of your fingers when you're trimming. What I'm going to do now is to create 2 spirals with these ends of wire, but I'm not going to complete them for now. I'm using my round nose pliers because I want to get quite close to the tip of the pliers and the very end of the wire and make a reasonably small centre to that spiral. So I'll start off by wrapping that twice from the centre point and then just leaving it be, making sure that those spirals are going towards the back of that rose bead. So you've got the front there, you've got the back there. It does spin at the moment, so as long as they're both going in the same direction, you can always move it. So again, I'm using round nose pliers today for this, and I'm starting quite close to the end of those pliers to generate a reasonably small centre to the spiral. Now we can just ignore this part of the project for now and bring in the horseshoe that we made. If they're slightly different, don't worry, you can hide them behind the rose a little bit later on. Let's bring in that second wire. Now we've made this horseshoe so that it will fit around the bottom of the rose and just to the outside of the 2 wires that passed through the rose. And what this is going to do is to stop the rose from spinning and give you 2 loops to attach onto your beautiful fancy chain. So our finer gauge wire was coming away. Let's have a look. I'm going to flip this over, pop my U-shaped wire underneath. There we go. So what I'm looking to have right now is for the fine wire to be away from me, so that when I bring the spiraled wire and the horseshoe shaped wire together, the fine wire sits on the same side of both of them. So it's presently coming off the wire that goes through the rose bead, underneath, and then it's underneath the horseshoe wire as well. So I'm going to wrap twice around both of those wires together. That's once and twice. Make sure you don't cross them over. Give that a little bit of a scooch up, and then I'm going to wrap 3 times around just the wire that passes through that bead. I'm going to repeat that twice on this side so that I've got a series of 3 wraps around the wire that goes through the bead and then 2 around both of them. Then I'll finish off with 3 wraps around just the wire that goes through the bead again. Each time I've finished a little sequence of wraps, I'm just going to tidy that up. Once I've completed on this side with 3 wraps around just the spiraled wire, I'll do the exact same thing on the other side too. So if I bring this slightly closer, you'll be able to see there's a sequence, and as long as you get them reasonably similar on either side, it doesn't really matter whether you follow exactly the same sequence as I have. But I have wrapped 3 times around the inner wire, which has the spirals, and then twice around both, and that's plenty to just hold everything together, and it will prevent that beautiful rose from spinning whilst it's being worn at the centre of your gorgeous fancy chain. So to finish off this design, what we're going to do is to finish spiraling those spirals and draw them across the back of the rose. So just keep turning that around until it sits as close as you can get it to where you've woven those 2 wires together. And the same on the other side. So do just take your time. Spirals can be tricky to get used to doing, but once you have the art, they are really, really useful. They can offer you a way to secure the ends of things time and time again in wire jewellery. So we're looking for the horseshoe shape of wire to sit down underneath the base of the rose, not slipping up behind it, but just under the base. Once that's held into position, what we're going to do is to bring those 2 spirals down either over the top of the rose or the back of the rose, dependent on how far up you have spiraled. Either way, your rose is now beautifully connected to a piece of wire which will enable you 2 connection points, and it's also not going to spin around anymore. So what we're going to do here is to just bring the wire backwards and away. I'm going to use my memory wire finishing pliers, and I'll probably use the smaller side, which is a 2mm pin. So I'm just going to allow that to spin around like so, and I've left a small gap so that I'll be able to suspend the rose rather than having it sit right on top of that fancy chain. So the trick here is twofold, in fact. We are looking to have the little round form coming backwards so that it's on the flat side of the rose. It also needs to be approximately the same height as the other side. So let's just bring those together. Turn that wire around until you get 2 similar size and locations on those small loops. Once you're happy that they will sit correctly, we're going to trim the wire away with our flush cutters. Let's get that into the scrap pot, and the same on the other side. So just hold that in position again. Please be mindful of your fingers when you're using flush cutters. I'm always a little bit cautious because I don't want to hurt the camera. So once you've got those loops sitting equal and opposite to one another, we're going to ensure that they are strong. You can of course go for wrapped loops if you prefer. It's just a little more tricky to get that to sit when you're doing a tutorial. So let's just really smush those down with some flat facing pliers, and then we're going to add that into the design. So you can either use your single simple loop, or you can, as I am going to do because my chain is exactly equal numbers rather than an odd number of links. Let's bring that back up, and then we're going to just ensure that those 2 small simple loops are going to fit correctly before we open them up. So again, when you're working with a small simple loop, you will want to use it as if it's a jump ring. So just open that out sideways, making sure that you choose the correct loops, of course. You may prefer to get one in first. Let's close that up. So just close that back up in exactly the same way. Give it a tiny smush, and then we're going to add the other one in. Now, because they're a set distance apart, you may need to just give that a quick wiggle to get it in, and then you can smooth that wire out again afterwards. So let's make sure that that cut end meets the piece of wire that goes down beneath the rose. Make it nice and strong, and there you have set your beautiful rose at the centre of the fancy chain. This is Jessie James Beads, and this is the beautiful Wuthering Heights Magical Mystery Bead Box for February 2026. I do hope that you're enjoying the video, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.